Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the Arctic North Pole, where we are planning with our little elves everything that we are going to deliver for Christmas.
Uh,
We won't even need the
if we can get the
won't even need reindeer. The sled will slide everywhere because of the sheets of ice.
if we can pry the elves off of the hood of the sleigh.
Yes, get
They're
all
frozen
their
there.
little beards separated. They all got too close together,
Seriously,
and they all froze solid to one another.
very
Um,
solid.
So, needless to say, for anybody that's in the South, I don't know though. Some part of the South, the Southeast, I think is getting it, but it sucks. This is as cold at one time and for a length of time than we have had around here for years, and I'm sick of it already. Only been even 3 days, 4 days, and I can't stand it.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
yeah. We're not accustomed to this kind of weather.
you guys got a lot more ice, though, didn't you?
Yeah, that's what we always get.
Yeah, we
We
got
rarely get snow, but we get a ton of
We got
ice.
ice, we got snow, we got ice, we got snow. I think we got snow 2 times now in a row
Yeah.
as of last night, this morning. So, it's not like deep snow. It's not like we've got a foot of snow out there, but it's like a half inch at a time, and it just every time you go out, clear the sidewalk off, boom, you come back in the
Hmm.
morning, voila,
Do it
another
again.
half
Yeah,
inch of snow on the ground or ice. So I hate it. I hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. So anyway,
yeah. I actually told them at work I was going to work from home today, so I just I went out and tinkered with the car for a little bit, and then I was like, this is crazy. I can work from home. I'll just log in and do everything remotely. So that's what I did.
well, our shop is not really set up for frigid cold,
No.
so that's made it a little tough getting anything done or
Yeah.
anything like that. So I planned on I said, oh, I'll go get a couple of heaters and put them in, so that we can heat the back up there better. Um,
Right.
but they are all 240 volts, and I need to I need an electrician here to fix the
Yep.
stuff for that. And guess what? No electrician wants to work this week. Imagine that.
Can you blame them?
No, no. I mean, no, I didn't get, but a couple of them are friends. I thought I'd at least got a friend throw out. They know how cold it is here. Now I hate the cold. So it's one of the reasons I got out of my other business was because of the freaking cold. I got tired of being out in it.
I feel like the time to have somebody install a heater is July.
Well, the problem that we have, because I've got a heater here, but it's a wood burning. So during the day, if I want to crank it up and everything, it's fine. The problem is at night,
Can't
and
leave it
I
running.
can't
Yeah.
leave it running and without somebody here to feed it, and so we've got to everything's got to be moved out of here, and the laser cutters use water for their coolant, and so we got to keep that area warm to keep the coolant from freezing. So
Hmm. Yeah, Ilmer, most of the game shops, not all of them, but most of the I take that back. Even the fanciest game shop that I normally hang out in, which was the Team Covenant store, that place was kind of chilly.
yeah,
Of course, I'm an old man, so maybe it's just me.
well, I figured it up, and I need about 40,000 BTU to heat the shop up to 50 degrees.
Yeah.
So I found two heaters that were each 25,000 BTU.
Hmm.
So that would give me a little extra and stuff like that. But again, you get anything that big in electric, they're
Yep.
wired for 240.
Right.
So we've got 240. I just don't have 240 where I need to be where the heaters need to be.
So are these the kind of heaters that would get mounted like up high?
Yes,
I've seen those in those tall
they mount
shops
on the
before.
wall. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it blows. So anyway, and of course, by the time I can get, oh well, I can come over next week. Well, next week it's not going to be freezing. So,
Right.
so
You hire those guys in
I
July when they're
know,
looking
I
for
know.
work.
Well, I didn't realize it was going to get that cold. I mean, so it's supposed to kind of cool down a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's we get a day or two every once in a while, so it wasn't that big a deal.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden it's like going to be here for like a week, and it's getting
Hmm.
colder. It's like Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
The low is like -7 here. Like
Yep.
Jesus Christ. Just get some fans and move the heat. Well, but that's the problem. Is it's the nighttime heat, because we have to keep heat here at night too, and so the wood burning stove doesn't do us any good at night.
I'm not sure anybody really has the right image of your shops, most of your shop space.
Yes,
That place has got a giant ceiling.
yes, yeah. Well, we've got 12-foot ceilings, so that's and the building's insulated. I mean, that's the good side. That's the reason we kind of always get away with it, because even when it gets 40 or 50 degrees, it stays 50 or 60 degrees in the shop, and when you're working and moving, it's not that big a deal uh, during the winter. But like I said, right now we're hovering about 34 back there, and it just hey, you work in little spurts. You go back there and work, then you go up front and get heated back up, and then you go back in the. So, all right. Well, we've managed to spend 10 minutes talking about heating. So I don't know.
This is the old man
It's a
show, right?
slow
We're
it's a
supposed to
slow
do
CAV
that.
week apparently.
Yeah. Well, those guys up there at CAV HQ aren't doing
Every
much work. It's freaking
everybody's
cold.
froze. Everybody's froze solid. Yeah. Well, and that's I've been that's basically what it is. Is right now I've just told everybody don't come into the shop. We'll worry about stuff next week, and I'm sitting in the office working on computer projects. So because I can get my little office toasty. I
Yes, you
got my
can.
own little heater in there, and I'll shut that door, and nobody sees me for 8 hours.
Hmm.
Uh,
I can always tell when you're busy working on something because you don't chat very much on Messenger.
Correct.
So usually if you're quiet, I'm thinking good things are happening.
We're being good little elves. We're getting stuff done.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But no, other than that, I mean, we're still in the process of getting everything ready for the new production. Of course, that has come to a grinding halt this week because we were tearing out stuff back there in the back to start clearing that area out and get ready for getting all the machine put in, which is supposed to be here pretty soon. I've been told. So,
Trademark.
well,
Pretty soon.
it's actually moving. I've got tracking numbers and everything, so I know it's been loaded and it's going. So,
Mm.
uh, yeah, there ain't nothing getting spray primed around here. So you can take the airbrush out and airbrush primer it in the office or something. But
Yep.
so
I,
it's just crapped on everything. There's just a lot of stuff that needs to be doing. We're trying to get ready for CavCon. We're trying to get the new production
mhm.
system put in. Um, uh, so I'm gonna cry more, noob. Oh,
I got some priming done on Monday. I got the first coat of primer on my my virtual CavCon force.
I tuned in for a little bit. I saw you priming on some Outlaws.
Yep.
Yep. So
So much you could do with those
yeah,
tanks. They have such big flat surfaces. When I'm not in a rush, I'm gonna do some freehand on some outlaws. I think it'll be pretty cool.
they are really cool minis. So
They are
what else is going on? Oh, we got one of the new sculptors turned some stuff in. Hopefully, I'll be able to show some stuff next week. Um,
nice.
a new updated warden, which turned out really
Mm.
really nice. It'll be like the Warden B or whatever, but um, and then he had a couple of models that he had done on his own that I'm looking at
Hmm.
that were just really cool, and we talked about them the other night, and so
Hmm.
we're going to see about porting them over into the CAV universe. Um,
Excited.
yeah, no, there's one of them is really really cool. Um, then I've got a new sculptor coming on later this month that hopefully we start seeing some stuff out of him.
Hmm.
Um, Chris on Saturday, I think he worked on the new the Starhawk 7, which
The
is
big one.
which is going to be there'll be a game size version and then a big model kit size one. So that's
Exciting.
what he was working on. It's the big model kit one. So a lot of, I mean, it's an updated Starhawk 6, but with some new things to it and stuff like that. I think everybody will still be happy with it. So I just, we've already done a 6, and it'd be, if we're gonna update some stuff, let's get something kind of new, kind of a new look out of it too.
Mhm.
So then last night I worked on the drop ship. So I cast that out on my Terrain Tuesday show. I was
Sweet.
sorting the pieces out because it's actually all the engineering's done. The actual, it's all built and everything like that. But after you build that in the program, then you got to blow it apart into its pieces, and then you got to get all the pieces laying flat. Oh, there went my earpiece. Hold on there.
John has had a malfunction.
Yeah, I did that last week too. I guess I need to stick some super glue on it or something, or I'm not sticking it in far enough.
Gorilla Glue.
Gorilla glue it or something. Okay. John, while we're warming up, which faction is most popular on the sales side? It's funny because it changes on a weekly basis. Every time I think that so and so is going to be, it just seems like, oh, everybody's buying this or whatever, it switches to something else. And for the longest time, Terran and Rock, it just, every time you turn around, people were getting Terran and Rock stuff. But it really dropped off there for a while, and the other factions kind of came to the top. But here over the last couple of weeks, Terran and Rock have all of a sudden come back into the picture. So there's no rhyme or reason. I mean, as we've grown and we do more and more, it just goes up and down. Each of them really get loaded up pretty good. And then of course retail is across the board because they order, retailer order stuff from every faction. So, but I have typically I try to go back and at the end of the year, or first of next year, and look at what did last year or whatever. And I haven't done that yet. So that'll give me kind of an idea of which was the big faction for 2020 as far as, but the last couple of weeks, Terran and Rock have been the big dogs. So.
Everybody's getting ready to paint up their pink rock for Valentine's Day.
Must be going for the pink. Yeah, I love the Aidenese. The Aidenese has got some really cool models. I really look forward to. I want to do an updated ogre. That's on my to-do list. Yeah. A new version of the ogre. Kind of clean it up because here's what happened. And the original ogre, they built it. When they modeled it and put it all together, and it got scaled wrong. So they put it out there, and when you look at the cockpit area of the original ogre, it's like super thin. It's like just this long wedge. Okay, so everybody was like, "Well, how the hell are the pilots supposed to sit in there?" They're like, "There's no way this can be scaled right." So in everybody's infinite wisdom, they said, "Oh." They lay down on their stomach and drive it like this. Okay. Well, I guess you could say that that's okay or whatever. I don't think that most CAV pilots are going to be real secure being head first in their CAV laying on their bellies out there and fighting. I guess maybe it'll be easier to eject. It just shoots you out the tube. Boom, you're out. So I never did like that. So when we were getting the models ready for Kickstarter 2, that the ogre was in there, I told Chris, I said, we need to fix this, because I said this isn't working right. This is that, let's fix that deal. So he's like, well, what do you need? I said, well, we need to have a section underneath the head or whatever, so that they're actually in or whatever. So in my infinite wisdom, though, I didn't give as much direction. I thought an afterthought. So when it came time, we kind of pushed him to shove, and we didn't have really time. And this is what Chris gave me, and I didn't like it, but it had to go out the door. Didn't have time to be redesigned anymore and messed with. So it was an okay fix, but it's not the fix that I want. I think that can be redone nicer on the Ogre. So I guess we'll probably see an Ogre 3.
So is it going to start with the previous design, or are you going to
It
let it
is
loose to do
no,
something
oh no
new?
no. It's too cool. I mean, the whole look of it, it's just got that. It's like an airplane or a jet fighter on legs. It's just got that really cool look, and I like it. I think the guns could be detailed a little better, but like I said, that head area that sticks out has got to be fixed. That stays more true to the original look, but works back into the scale that it needs to be. So it's a 12. I think it's what the Ogre 2 is a 12. It'll stay at 12. I doubt we'll change a whole lot on it stat wise or something like that. But like I said, it's just kind of a new look to it, and I'll change something on it to make it different from the number 2 or something. So
I could see one from here, so I was just looking at the cockpit. It's not terrible, but I think you're right. You could do something better with that.
I think the Ogre 1 is an 11, and then the Ogre 2 is a 12. So the Ogre 3 will stay at 12 as well, but we'll change a little in it to make it done. Because what happened is all the original models, when they originally did all the heavier guys, the bigger guys, first they worked on an 8-point track system. The original damage track system was 8 points. So when we converted them over to 12, the original versions of it all statted out to 11s. And so they had come back and done, which were 7s in the original game, and then so they came back and did 8s or whatever to update them to the bigger sizes. So the way it switched over, everything ended up being 11s, and so I came back and did the 2s in order to get into the bigger 12 pointers. So that's the reason there's 2 versions of like the Rhino and the Ogre, and the Thunderbird went over to a 12, and I think the Emperor, and then Centurion and the Revenant were 12s. I don't know if there was a 2 version or not, but anyway, that's where they got kind of. That's the reason we start off with a lot of 1 and 2s. So, hi there, Mayor Dud. How are you tonight?
There he is.
Welcome to the party. If you say one thing about it being 70 degrees where you're at, I swear we are banning you from the channel. Just be ready. I don't want to hear nothing about people sitting there. I got Todd bad enough out in California telling me how nice and warm it is and everything like that. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. You guys got hurricanes and earthquakes. So. Mm-hmm. Well, and the thing with the Ogres and the Rhinos with the 1s and the 2s, it's a point system. I mean, there is some little changes because of the extra DT, but I mean that DT makes a big percentage of points. So, if you need to squeeze something in there, if you need to get an Ogre and keep the points down, then you want to go to the lower point one. So that'll help. And yes, the speed and things make difference. I mean, there are differences in them, but the big one is the threat value points. I mean, because you can just look at how the Centurion stats out. What is he? 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 points, something like that. He's huge because he's 12 DT and got 4 of these and 2 of
Gotcha.
these, and
Yep. He's a big boy.
yeah, it's nuts. So that's the reason we came back and did the Praetorian and the other. There's another version of Centurion that we statted him down a little bit, so that he wasn't so expensive. Because I think he is or was the highest point model in the game. I think pretty close.
Centurion.
If he's not,
Yeah, the Templar model is the biggest one.
is that did the Templar, the Centurion, you mean, or just the
Mhm.
yeah?
So, well, I mean, unless one of the new ones that you've made recently.
Well, that's why I was
you
trying
know,
to
you,
think if anything pointed out over him, but I don't think so. I think the original stock Centurion is the highest model in the game.
yeah,
So
I think so. I mean, that Devastator you made, the big four-legged walker
right,
with all the firepower. I don't
it did
think it was
it
more.
did not, because of the way that they're set up.
Mhm.
There was things that it didn't have, that keeps the points from getting so high. I don't remember if it, because you start throwing in target computers and Wizzos and everything like that. Those really add up quick. I mean, anything that affects the to hit roll, as far as getting pluses, the game is weighted towards, those being in there, right? And the fact that it has the sensor, the large sensor.
Mhm.
I don't
SA.
SA. Yeah, well, I was going to say it's not a perk. It's more of a minus, but so it's easier to hit him. But
Mhm.
so that
Plus one to
yeah,
hit.
so that takes some of the points down off of him.
By the way, I think Mayor Dude said he's running the air
I'm
conditioner.
not.
If I
I'm
understood
just
his
ignoring
post.
that. I am absolutely
Okay.
ignoring that line. I've moved the mic so that it crosses right across that line, so that I don't even have to look at it. So I don't even have to see it. So. Um, but yeah, so anyway, so the ogre, a redo of the ogre is big on my, and he needs, a lot of the original, especially, the early ones. When they started, a couple of the early sculptors tried to do some sloping and stuff like that. They got where they could make the slope, but they couldn't figure out how to make lines and panels and stuff to fit on top of the slope. So there's big areas that it's just flat. So I guess it's great for if you want to put decals all over it, Mr. Ross. But I think it needs a little more grit to it, give it a little better look, update it a little
I mean,
bit.
honestly, I think it is a valuable idea to, as the sculptors are working on a model, to leave at least one spot where a person could, locate a decal or do some freehand without having to shave bits off the model. I mean, I get that, you want detailed models, but maybe keeping that in mind. I mean, eh, I just think calves look better with unit markings of some kind.
Well, I do too, but that's the reason you use you can use a decal on an uneven surface. It's very easy to do that. You get the little solvent stuff and you put that little dot in
Mhm.
there and you drop the decal and it just sucks
Yep,
right over
but it
whatever you
doesn't.
want.
But it doesn't look as good.
Oh, it does too. Whatever. I don't need big flat spots for somebody to put decals on it. We want detail. We want stuff to catch the paint. So
Go ahead, John. You're probably going to get your way anyway.
if that's the way you want to start doing little Japanese battle flags off the top of it. They're banners. Put
Yeah,
a toothpick
those
in the
back
top
banners
of it.
that they have.
Yeah, you can do back banners on everything. So,
Okay. Or I could just shave some detail off with my X-Acto.
or you can shave a little detail off if that's what you want to do. So, it's something I do try to point out after it was brought up. I've been trying to get some spots on some things. It doesn't always work out, but we're getting there. We're doing better. Okay, so what's next? I was talking about the ogre and the story behind him, how he ended up with where
Right.
he's going to be.
So
Go ahead.
let's talk about how that dropship fits into the other factions.
Well, and this kind of came up with the original when we did the first one, the broadsword. Um, I don't see in the grand scope of the world that we will do a drop ship for every faction. that you're talking about, the um, all the drop ships are not going to fit into like the broadsword. I couldn't do an MDF version of the broadsword. I
Right.
could,
Too many
but
curves.
yeah, I could, but it would look so different and so out of whack. It just
Hmm.
wouldn't work. Um, the And that's the reason I went ahead and did the rock one, because the rock one actually fit. I mean, it's a brick, it's a flying brick, so
Hmm.
it worked into MDF, and and had enough. If you look at the original model, even the true scale one, they there's just no detail on it. They didn't put any kind of paneling lines or anything. It's just flat thing. So it was real easy to take it, adjust it, add things to it, pieces to it, and come up with what I think still looks like a good model. The other ones are in the same boat. They're the way that they're built and stuff like that. I don't think that they would flip into MDF. Now, with that being said, we've never designed the amethyls yet. It's been named, it's on
Hmm.
their list or whatever, but we don't actually have a drawing of it. So that could be one that we could go back and make another one that would work in MDF. Um,
Hmm. And you could take an old model that sort of like you did with the broadsword, right? The broadsword really used to be a rock aircraft, wasn't it?
no, it was
Originally,
always a Templar.
was it?
Yes, but they called it the Czar.
I
And
could have swore that was
and
the
I
rock,
just
but
felt
I
like,
guess you're right.
yeah, but I just felt like that the Czar really needed, that name needed to be with the Rock, because of the way that
Hmm.
they're naming things. There was just some that got named, um, that went into other factions that probably those names should have stayed with the naming conventions. There's a lot of, like, the Baron and the Sultan and stuff like that. Those actually should all, I think, should be rock names, but it is what it is. So what'll happen is, obviously, if you want a drop ship to put on your game board and you're not playing rock or whatever, and we don't have one for your particular faction, um, that's the reason the drop ships are going to be kind of. I mean, they're basically an open model, and you can go in and make a few changes to it. You can change how it's painted, things like that, if you want to add some bits to it or something to differentiate it. And I mean, you can call it whatever you want to at that point and make it for that faction. You can take
Hmm.
the rock drop ship and call it the boba or whatever, and it's just another drop ship for one of the other factions. And that's really probably the direction most people will end up having to use it. What's the name of the Amethryl's drop ship? I don't remember off the top of my head, but I can look right quick.
It's the hedgehog.
It's the Hedgehog. No, I don't think it's the
Come on,
Hedgehog. I
John.
don't think it's the Hedgehog.
The hedgehog would look great in MDF. It would work perfectly.
Yeah,
So, just like you did with the Tsar, you turn the Tsar into the broadsword, you turn the hedgehog into the Almirithal dropship,
I see.
right?
I see. Let's
No
see
agenda here
here.
at all.
No,
None at all.
none at all. None at all. Let's see, the Amethyls. Get their list here. Their drop ship is the Triumph.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. So I don't think that was an original model. I think it should be. I mean, I don't think it was a model that was already done. I'd have to. I'm pretty sure. So that'll be something we'll have to. We could look down the road about designing an Amethyl one that would work as an MDF model. So
That would be interesting, yeah. Because, I mean, the badge, you already had a model, so you had to just work with it to get it to print in MDF, right?
right. Well, and that's where
So
I went ahead with it, because it lended itself so well to that, because
right.
it's a brick, and it was really not very detailed.
Mhm.
They didn't put a lot of stuff on it, so there wasn't anything that, um, uh, if I changed this or added this, you still know what it is, all right, without it looking weird. So and
And just
yeah, and I mean, and like I said, and you can do a lot with MDF. I mean, I could do an MDF version of the broadsword, and I mean, you would look at it and know what it is. You would know that it's a broadsword, and I think it would still be a cool looking model, but it would have 1,000 pieces.
mm-hmm.
So you saw that kit that I showed you, that one I had that I got from that guy, you know.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
there's literally 1,000 pieces in there, that thing. I mean, it's got all these little, you know, because he's trying to achieve all these angles and curves and everything like that. And
Mm-hmm.
it makes for a great ship when it's all done. But, you know, God, that's the normal guy is not going to, I mean, I consider myself a pretty competent modeler and everything like that. And I haven't even started on it. It's literally sitting on my shelf for almost 2 years because I just
Yep.
don't want to even mess with it.
No
So,
idea how those parts even go together.
well, and that's the other thing. There's unfortunately, the company that made it, the owner passed away, and they have taken down their web page where all the instructions are were to be downloaded from. And in my infinite wisdom, I had never downloaded them because I thought, oh, I'll just go to the web whenever and get them, you know. Well, now I can't find them anywhere. So I'm sure it was probably because of storage space. It probably took up 2/3 of their hard drive space, that one book. So
John, I was just sitting here thinking, of other models I've seen that have, a very angular, flat, sort of MDF-y style. What about the F-117?
yeah, I mean, yeah, if you were wanting to do a plane, a fighter, but we're not going to do anything that big for a
But
plane.
what I'm saying is, that sort of aesthetic, right? Where it's
Oh,
got those
right,
odd,
right.
angles that it has that make it very distinctive. I'm not talking about actually making an
I see.
F-117. I'm
I
talking
see.
about I think its shape lends itself to MDF.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of different shapes. The only problem you have with MDF is when you're trying to get angles, because obviously with everything being square to the side, as soon as you get angle, you get that gap there where the two edges come together, and sometimes you can overlap them a little bit, but then you get a little overhang on the bottom edge. So sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes you can't. You can do round. I mean, I've seen them where they've made globes out of MDF. The problem goes back to the pieces then, because you have to basically build a rib system that has pieces out of it, and then you have to put each piece on that, so it kind of has a faceted look,
Mhm.
but you can get a pretty rounded look deal. But the more round you want it, the smaller the pieces get, and it just turns into, because I mean right now I mean I have pushed and pulled and tried to do everything to cut the parts down on this kit that I'm working on. And I was actually amazed when I blew it apart and started looking at it. It's got 200 parts to it. And I wouldn't even have thought looking at it that it had that many parts, but now a lot of it's got 3 landing gears on it that I think are 40 or 50 of the parts right there, because I had to get a little more specific with some pieces to get a look. But yeah, they add up really quick. So, and that doesn't even take into account if I end up providing like the missile ends and stuff like that. So,
Mm.
as like I said, I'm gonna try to test and see how they turn out on the Weed Whacker printer. Um, so if I think that they look decent, because they're small enough that I could, once we got a printer set up and going, you could probably put 100 of them on at a time to print on the
Right.
machine. And uh, but I don't know how they'll look and stuff like that. I've got the templates and well, actually, we have that up on the website. You can go in there and we put those up there for the Hercules. And it is, and the problem with the Hercules is I'm not 100% sure uh, who owns that. So I think my understanding of it is the gentleman that did it, while at the time was working on CAV stuff for Reaper. I think he went off and did this on his own, and I don't think it. I don't know, because I've got artwork that it got included in. That is our artwork, so I'm not 100% sure how that is all done. And of course, I can't get a hold of anybody to know how they look at it or whatever. And when he put the kit out there, he put it out there as an open source kit. So, but it's a neat ship, and he designed it originally for you to cut out a foam core. So it's designed, it would, for MDF, it would look great. I mean, it's set up for that type of build. But it certainly doesn't stop you as a person to do it. And I think over the years, I think there's been a couple of people that came on and had them cut out in MDF. If you go do a search on the internet for images and just put in CAV dropship Hercules, there's a bunch of them out there that's been painted up, and you can tell some of them are foam core and some of them are somebody's taken the time and had them cut out in MDF. Because the templates are all there. It's all in PDF files. You can upload it right onto the software and cut it out right away. So, but what he originally did is there's a set of templates for cutting out the foam core, and then there's another set of templates that you can print out like on a laser printer, and you cut out and you paint that or glue that on top for all the paneling lines and everything like that. If you want to do it that way. So, but like I said, I've seen a lot of people do them and paint them up and stuff. But cool looking ship. So might be one I might make one day just to have one here. I'm not big on foam core models, but I think an MDF one would be cool. Yeah, there's tons of pics out there. So many people. I mean, they built them for BattleTech and all kinds of stuff like that people have used them for. See if I can pull up one here and see. Yeah, if you just put in Hercules CAV dropship right off the plot, there's the one there at the top. I'm pretty sure that's an MDF version of it. But yeah, no, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 of them just right off the bat there at the top. But no, cool model, and way before its time. I think it's got a little bit of a scale issue, especially with the bottom part of it, but not anything that's too out of whack. But I'm super excited. I mean, I already told everybody this is at the top of the list. I am hammering on this thing till it's done. I don't want to get into another one where it's something else pops up, and I'm just, with the cold weather and everything getting in the way of everything, it couldn't happen at a better time for that. So, I mean, I can just keep working on that and not feel horrible about other things not being done necessarily. So, anyway.
How long does it take to cut one of these out, John?
The first one that I cut out took about 90 minutes.
Okay,
but that was not taking into account not the detailing. Yeah, the detailing will slow that down some, and I think ideally that probably true time would have been more towards an hour, but there was things that I was adjusting and changing and doing, and setting each file up and at each time, because I had to use 5 different files to cut it. So I'd have to put a sheet in, cut the first file, take that all out, put the next sheet in, set it all up. And I had not, and I made all the pieces they came out, so I wasn't having to cut them loose. Like on the final one, it'll have little tabs that you'll have to cut
Right.
to knock it
loose. Yeah.
loose. So going in there at the end and picking each piece up off the work and stick it in a box and stuff like that. So I think it'll add some time for the detailing, but I think some production time will come off of it too. So. And if once the cutter is set up strictly, if you just want to do a day's worth of production on it, where that's all you're doing all day, and you've got everything set up for that, I think it'll go a little quicker too. I think you'll be able to do probably 8 to 10 models a day. So.
That'll take care of my needs. What are you going to do the next day?
Well, like I said, the next step is I've got about a third of the detailing done today. I probably will finish that tomorrow. A couple of things got in the way this afternoon, or I think I would have had it done tonight. So then I'll cut another one and put it together and double check it make sure everything lines up and everything there. The engineering side of it's done. I'm not worried about that. It actually went together pretty good. Part of putting it together too is of course, as I built it, I had it in my mind how it needed to go together. That went totally out the window once I started building it. But from building that first one, I can see now how the order that you need to take it into. But I was amazed. It all went together right off the bat. Everything lined up. I had left off some tabs and some of the holes on 2 or 3 pieces. So I just cut them off, and glued the edges in to get the model done. But I was amazed when I put the pods on the side of it and everything like that. It went right on. They went right on there. I decided to do that different because I could see somebody with not as much experience having more problems getting that to hook on. So now it's basically, I started with the pods and then built the body and then put the pods onto the body. Now I think you're better off to build the body and then build the pods. That way you can put the side of the pod directly onto the model and then just build the outside of the pod around it. And then the landing gear and the thruster pods will go on the bottom of it last.
So what about instructions?
Well, that's the deal. Is once I've got it, like the first time when I built it, I kept a notepad next to me and I wrote down what I did. What piece did I take? How did I put it together? Whatever like that. If there was a problem or something like that, make a note on that. So I'll do the same thing again when I build the second one, and I'll have an order of steps. And of course, everything will be numbered and everything like that. Then once that's done, then I'll go back and take the original engineering model, blow that apart, and I mean, it'd be like building a Lego kit. Basically the instructions will look like that. Tells you where this piece goes in the order that you put it together.
So will you print them and put them in the kit, or host them on a website and direct people to the site, or both?
I probably will host them on the website because it'll end up probably being 4 or 5 pages, and it's
right.
We'll see how it turned out. I mean, if I can get them down to a page or 2 or a front and a back or something like that, I may be able to go away with it. Because like I said, I'm paying for that, with that model I've got, because I can't get the instructions because you have to download them. But, I look back and go, oh, how great it would have been if they'd included them in there. But, I can understand why he didn't. I mean, it would have been a 1/2-inch thick book. So, but I think we'll be around. I think you'll be all right if you had to download them. So, and while I'm thinking about it, I wanted to bring up, because it kind of popped up on one of the Facebook posts or something like that, looking for infantry data cards. The reason why, if you go to the caller data cards and there are no infantry data cards, we've talked about this before, is because there's so many ways you can build infantry. There's just no way we could build cards for everything. If you go into the download section where we've got the little black and white cards, If you go into the open models, there are some statted up infantry cards in there. But I guess at this point, I'll probably come back and do 2 or 3 basic ones and put a color data card
Mhm.
out there for them. But that's the reason why there's not, like I said, there you could have 10,000 different infantry cards and maybe cover all the combinations out of the 3 different kinds. So, because if you change one thing, if you don't put grenades on this guy and do this or give it a different SA or something like that, all of a sudden you've got 1,000 different things again. So if you're looking for the infantry cards, like I said, there's some generic ones put up in the open models underneath that section under downloads, but there are no color infantry cards. I'll see down the road about maybe putting a few together just so that there's some there. But if that's what you're looking for, that's why. Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. It's time to sing.
I don't know. I don't think you want to hear me sing. Most people don't want to hear me talk. So,
Come on now.
oh,
Can't be that bad.
I don't know. Sometimes he drones. He talks too much.
Hmm. Well, do you have any insight as to the like CavCon? What kind of cool, like unique CavCon specific materials are going to be available? Have you made any decisions there?
Well, my hope is we're trying to put together a little kind of a goodie bag or something like that, kind of a swag bag for people to get out. Um, my hope is that we have a CAV model and a vehicle model again that are
Mhm.
going to be new, and we're trying to work on getting a couple of new paint colors put out, um, and just lots of little patches and stuff like that. It's just um, trying to get that all put together. I'm still trying to get everybody that we've talked to about doing shows and part of it to kind of lock it down so that we can get a schedule. And again, other people's schedule seems to not work with mine. It's like, hey, is there any
Mm.
way I can get this like an answer in 2 or 3 days? Well, some of those answers have turned into 2 or 3 weeks.
So,
Oh,
so
yeah.
maybe you need to ask for hour answers,
I
and then they'll just multiply those to
I
days.
guess so. In minutes, I need to say, hey, can I get that answer back in 2 or 3 minutes? So anyway, so I'm still trying to nail down the final schedule and everything like that. My hope is here by the end of the month that we'll have everything kind of put together.
Cool.
When we order paint through you, I assume the other Reaper. I carry all the Reaper, the Bones paints. The entire Bones line is on our site as well. So I think there's like 99 or 100 colors or something like that. So um, besides the 24 colors that we have that are CAV specific. So if you want to, and the main reason that I don't do like the Master Series paints as well, we just do the Bones line, is the Bones line is the old HD line. It's the higher density paint, and for a newer painter, they're easier paints to use. The Master Series paints are much more of a higher end paint for. They can be very frustrating for new painters because they are um, not as thick pigment wise, and when they go in there and put that first coat on, it kind of it's hard sometimes. So and the Bones line, they're adding a lot to it. Now, like I said, the Master Series paints are great if you're doing lots of blending and shading and everything like that. They're great for dry brushing. Um, they are great airbrush paints. They spray really good through an airbrush. Um, so I'm not trying to put anybody off on those, but that's the only reason I just carry the Bones line is because, like I said, it's over 100 colors. They're adding to it pretty regularly. And it's just they're easier paints to for somebody new to start with. The good thing too is We sell all the paints for $2.99 a bottle. I think normal retail on them is like $3.69, so they're a little cheaper that way. And we also let you build your own paint sets, um, so which are normally 6 paints. So if you buy 5 paints, you get your 6 paint free. So it basically works out to you can get a 6 paint colors for it's $14.99, so it works out to like $2.79 or $2.69 a bottle or something like that. But you have to buy 6, and it's not a one-time deal. So if you order 24 paints, you're only going to pay for 20 of them. So you get every time you buy 6 paints, the sixth one comes in free, or you buy 5 paints and the sixth one's free. However you want to look at it. So.
Mhm.
So it's a good deal. It works out. We get people to load up a lot of paint. But
8 on orange is good.
yeah,
Buy 8 on orange.
I like safety yellow. That's all. I was like, that's a cool color. So, but and I really the last 12 that we did for the Templar and the Malvernons, I think our color choices were the best 12 we ever picked out. There are just some really cool colors in that particular 12. The crimson red, the tunic white, there's the tea gel blue and the coolant green. I love the coolant green. The coolant green's a great color. So, Inquisitor purple. So some good colors. We have been kind of shooting around, trying to figure out what 2 colors we want to add to the line. I kind of laid out the ones that we've got, because we've got kind of blue heavy. So we have blue covered, I think, for about any color of blue, and there's some grays in there and stuff like that. So maybe try to get some Terran colors in there, maybe. I know that because all the original 6 CAV colors that were part of the Master Series line has been discontinued. So it would be nice, like that Terran khaki, to bring over. And so maybe we'll do that. So we need a pink and a light purple. I don't think that you're going to get a pink, but I think you might check the Mount Vernon colors, because there's 2 or 3 purples in there. I think one of them is kind of a light colored purple. Part of it too is I'm not trying to double up on any colors that we have, in the Bones line already. So, we're not going to do any whites or blacks or anything like that. No metallics. So, and if you really that War Master bronze is kind of a darker khaki color. It's kind of a cool color. Todd's done some stuff with those that looks pretty cool. Yeah, if you like I said, if you just go to the Talon.Games store, you can look under there, and like I said, it's all set up for. And when you order the paints, they automatically, when you buy 6 paints, it gives you the 6th one free. So, but I was going to look here and see what those purple colors that we end up having. Yeah, there's a High Guard purple that was in the last one. That's kind of a lighter one. Oh, and that Capellan Sunrise, that was a cool color too. And then with the Bones paints, let's see. Yeah, because there's there's 22 a page, so there's 6 pages. So that'd be the 5. We've also got the sets too. The paint sets 1 through 5. So that's a good deal too. I think you get, there's 3, 6, 8, 16 colors in that. Plus you get the box. So I don't know that it works out any better per bottle color, but but you get a cool carry case, and which is nice because they've switched over to their own Witchcraft purple. That's kind of a good light purple, but they actually went in and tooled their own carry cases now. They used to buy these generic gun cases or whatever that they used to put the sets through. But Reaper went in and actually tooled up a case specifically for putting paints in. So those are cool. Those are pretty neat to have. We're almost to the end of the show.
Getting there.
Yeah. So if anybody's got suggestions for paint colors, you throw them up on the Facebook page or talk about them in Discord. We can look on there. So like I said, I haven't 100% decided on it, but I'm kind of leaning towards that Terran khaki, and then the other one I don't know. So maybe the rock red. I always like the rock red. That was a good red too. Of course, it's
a lot of good reds.
Of course, I think it's pretty close to like the dragon red in the Bones line. So.
Paint up a good red, you got to start out darker than that. Maybe you need something more towards mahogany.
Well, that's that crimson red. That crimson red is a good dark, good base red. That's it. The last couple that I painted that I used red, I put that crimson on it and then went over it with the rock red. So it's pretty cool. But who knows? Maybe come up with an amethyl color. Maybe we need a good amethyl color. So, I mean, my plan is my eventual is I want to have, we have a 6-color set for those other 4 factions. So we've got 3 more factions that we need to have the 6 paint colors. So we have at least 18 more colors I want to add to the CAV line. So.
Almirathal anger.
Angst. Amethyl angst.
I don't think they have angst. They're feisty.
They're feisty guys. Yeah. So, but there's still a lot of color. There's a lot of cool colors out there. So I'll put up 4 or 5 and let people vote on them. So, or for the extra one, because I'm kind of I think the Terran khaki is coming, but the other color we might be able to see. But anyway, yes, if you're looking for paints, if that's all I'm amazed the orders that we get in that are nothing but paint. So the only thing I watch right now is if you're in an area that is cold, is I always make sure that when I know that they're going to addresses like that they have to sign for them. Because what happens is I don't really worry about them freezing on the way there because generally they're in a regular temperature or at least kind of warm. I mean, it's not necessarily always freezing temperatures. Even if they're in the back of a semi going down the highway, there's so much stuff packed together, it kind of insulates it. And they're moving, they're shaking on the deal. So but God forbid that the postman shows up and throws that box down on your porch in minus 10-degree weather, and you get home at night and go, oh, here's all my paints. And they're all little tubes of busted block.
Sickles.
Little paint sickles. So we do.
Maybe we can name a color. Hold on. Mare Dude Heat Wave.
Oh, you are so gonna die. You're in so much trouble. You're going down a path you do not want to go down. But yeah, no, I always, like I said, anytime we send paint to a cold address, plan on having to sign for them because I do not want the postman to leave them out on the. I try to slap a sticker on there, do not freeze or something like that so that they know. But, what good that does, I don't know. It's like if you put a box on there, fragile or whatever, and it seems like, they see that sticker and they're like, here's your box. And they start making cold jokes. Okay, so we have reached the end of our line, literally. Thanks as we freeze ourselves out of here. So, any last thoughts or comments? James?
Um, I mean, we have the big Stompy podcast coming up here in a week or so, don't we?
I was just going to ask you if
Third
what was going to be the third Thursday this. I think we talked about that.
third Thursday.
The 18th.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's coming up before
Yeah.
you know it. Yeah. I gotta round up the troops and see what they want to talk about. We did a little bit of a starter kit breakdown, and we've broken down some of the, I think it was Mirathel units. So I'm probably gonna, if we can get Todd to join us, we'll probably try and continue that sort of tactical insight into the models. I'm not sure which faction. If anybody has an opinion, feel free to throw it out there into the internet, and we'll prioritize that for you. But yeah, I'm sure we'll probably pick their brains and get them to teach us how to play the game gooder.
Gooder. Gooder.
Yep.
Is that like an Oklahoma word? Gooder.
I borrowed it from Kansas when I was up there last time.
I see.
I was living on the side of the road.
I see how it is.
Yeah, it's very icy.
It is. It's a slippery path that you don't want to go down. Yes. So we've got that. I don't know what Chris is going to work on Saturday. He probably maybe work on the Starhawk more, or he's kind of switching gears into the 28/32 millimeter line of figures. Technically, I think they're 32 is what they're supposed to be. So we'd probably be adding to that. So because we are getting close, Mirror Dude, we are looking forward to Dualcast. We're all looking forward to Dualcast. That's going to be a big deal around here, a big change for everything that's going on. So we're the future of the company is based around that. So it's a big deal. Other than that, I think that I'm going to get out of here and go home.
Okay.
So everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. As always, we appreciate your support, and we will talk at you later.
Take care, all.
Good night.